Does anyone fancy any sushi? Okay, a few people. That's good. I'll check a few options. Okay, this place is pretty good. It's on its way. Oh, and who here wants to help address climate change? Even better, a few more people. But what can we actually do? Isn't it crazy that we live at a time where you can get almost anything with a click, but it's still so hard to make impact? Perhaps you've wanted to make some kind of change in the world, but you just didn't know how you could. I know that feeling. My journey to asking myself that question started when I was at university. I was studying business, and like those Silicon Valley entrepreneurs you hear about, my plan was to drop out when I had that next big business idea. But after a few months, I realized I still had a lot to learn, so I stayed on. But the lectures became so boring that I actually started reading philosophy. And I came across this idea that really spoke to me. It's called the accident of birth. And it was proposed by a philosopher called John Rawls. And to paraphrase, he said, "We're thrown into the world, we don't choose where we land, but it largely determines the opportunities that we have." And here I am at university, having had so many privileges simply because of where I was born. And I wondered, how could I use these entrepreneurial skills I was developing to enable other people to have the same chances that I'd had? But I had no idea how I could. So I thought I'd graduate, go work for one of the big consulting firms, learn as much as I could, and then quit when I had my big impact idea. But life works in mysterious ways. I got rejected from almost every grad scheme you can imagine. But after a few months of moving back home, I landed a job at a charity called Royal British Legion Industries. Now, RBLI isn't just any non-profit, it's a social enterprise. And despite spending 3 years at business school, I'd never even heard the term social enterprise. To put it simply, a social enterprise is an organization that uses business for good. In RBLI's case, that started over 100 years ago, when soldiers returning from the First World War injured started making wooden toys and crates as something to do while they recovered. And a century later, RBLI is one of the largest social enterprises in the UK, employing people with disabilities and veterans to make everything from wooden products to road and rail signs. And that experience taught me that business didn't just have to be about maximizing shareholder wealth. It could really change people's lives. And as I dived deeper into the social enterprise space, I discovered a new generation of impact organizations, impact startups. These are early stage ventures, often harnessing technology to create innovative solutions that can make truly scalable impact. It just so happens that most of those organizations were led by truly inspiring impact entrepreneurs. Their biggest challenge? Not being able to afford the skills that they need to scale. So I started to give my time, giving what skills I could and what time I had, just to help wherever I could. But I quickly realized there was so much little that I could do as an individual, alone, with the skills that I had. At that time, most of my friends were working in the corporate world. They had nice job titles, great salaries, but they didn't feel like they were making the difference that they wanted to. And what I discovered is they found it so hard to find opportunities that fit within their busy schedules. And I wondered, how difficult can it really be? So I spent hours scouring the internet, searching for impact opportunities, and I was bombarded by requests for donations from charities. But I knew the value of our skills was so much greater than the contents of our wallets. So I decided to try as much volunteering as I could. Everything from serving in soup kitchens, clearing gardens, bucket fundraising, you name it, I did it all. What I quickly realized is that those opportunities were inaccessible to most, uninteresting to some, including myself from time to time, but they didn't also use the skills that we had. And to expand my horizons internationally, I went to New York for a Model United Nations conference. And that's where I met Jens. We were two of hundreds of young people who had traveled from all across the world to pretend to make impact by simulating the UN. And Jens and I together thought, wouldn't it be even better if these people could use their skills to make real impact without even leaving their home? That's when WeMakeChange was born. We would make impact as easy as ordering sushi by enabling people to volunteer their skills to support impact startups, matching their causes, skills, and schedule. Individuals would be able to support the causes they care about with the skills they had whenever they wanted, while impact startups could get the skills that they need entirely for free. Bingo, we had the idea. 5 years later, WeMakeChange is a movement of 50,000 ChangeMakers supporting more than 1,500 impact startups in over 100 countries across the world. Individuals can sign up on our platform, identify the causes they care about, the skills they've got, and the time they can give, and find impact opportunities that are right for them. They can even make impact with their colleagues through our Change Day online events, where corporate teams help startups with specific challenges they face in just a few hours. While impact startups can build remote volunteer teams entirely for free. Since WeMakeChange started, impact startups have gained more than $10 million worth of skills. But what impact does this really make? I'll give you a few examples. Era92 Creative is a startup founded in Uganda. They're a digital marketing agency who train and employ young people from across the slums across Africa in design, marketing, and web development, who then provide top quality marketing services to companies across the world. And so far, they've already trained more than 2,000 young people. Mukuru Clean Stoves make home cooking stoves that reduce household air pollution. And they also manufacture mosquito repellent waste. And so far, they've impacted over 3 million lives, helped prevent almost 1 million tons of CO2 emissions. And they've even won the Earthshot Prize. And Faircado is a startup based in Germany. And they make second-hand shopping the first choice. So that when you're shopping for products online, you can see second-hand options right in front of you. They started in Germany, have expanded to the UK, and they're looking to go far beyond there. And those are just 3 examples of literally hundreds of impact startups that we've been fortunate to support so far. But that's just the start, because it feels like WeMakeChange is needed now more than ever. And that we really are just getting started. Because we are the first generation that can end extreme poverty and the last that can address climate change. Just think about that. We are the first generation that can end extreme poverty and the last that can address climate change. Now, some of you might think that's a huge responsibility. And it is. You might even feel daunted by the prospect. But for me, I see it as an even bigger opportunity. Because if you're alive today, you are part of the largest, most connected, and most educated generation there has ever been. We have the skills and the solutions to address the challenges the world faces today. Now we can connect them. And you can all play your part. Because you need 3 things to change the world. A cause you care about, some skills you can share, and some time you can spare. Because whatever causes you care about, there's an impact startup for that. AI tools addressing water scarcity. To tech solutions helping to end poverty. Whatever skills you have, you can make a difference. If you're a marketer, you can build awareness about amazing innovations. If you're a web developer, you can help to build solutions that are going to become the next impact startups. And if you're a professional in anything from HR to finance to law, you can help startups who desperately need your support. And whatever time you can give, you can help. If it's a few hours a week, then volunteer. If it's a few days a week, then look at an impact career. And if you're even willing to dedicate your entire life to making impact, maybe even think about founding an impact startup yourself. But be warned, being an entrepreneur, specifically an impact entrepreneur, isn't for everyone. But you don't have to start your own thing to make a difference. The one thing you cannot do is wait. Because the danger of our time is that we don't make the most of our time. And it is up to each of us to become the people that we want to be by making the change that we want to see. Because you all have the power to change the world. And you have the freedom to choose to make that happen. And it's up for our generation to unite, to create the world that we want to live in, to make that vision a reality. Oh. And the sushi's just arrived. Just in time.